Well, hello everybody. How are you doing? It's been a while since I've made a honing-based video, I suppose. Just needed to go over a few things. A lot of questions keep getting asked in the forum. A lot of folks aren't Googling. Don't get me wrong, we like questions, but we, forgive me, I'm suffering from a massive cold. The lung infection also. But we sometimes need to explain to very new people that you need to start from something. You can't start from zero and ask questions. This is a DMT Dia-Sharp. I think this thing's almost a decade old. You can tell I don't treat it right. It's got some rust here and there on it. I treat it pretty badly. It's been worn through. You can see there's spots that are diamond clear almost. Others that aren't. It's your DMT plates aren't always lapped as flat as they're supposed to be. Anyway, but it serves its purpose. So, good morning. This is a gold dollar. It's carbon steel. One of the basic questions people ask me is, how do you know when your bevel is set? How do you know when you've apexed it, when you've brought side A and side B to one single invisible point? Well, unless you're standing there beside me, it can be a little tough for me to get this through some folks' heads. So let's do this. This is your typical gold dollar, newer production. I have removed the heel stabilizer here where my thumb is at. That's normally thick and comes down to the edge line. I remove that because I think it looks like, well, trash. And these also causes it to lay flatter on the hone later on. So whoever hones this after me doesn't have a hard job, okay? Alright. Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to realize, you can see that it has what looks like a bevel. And that is right here. That flat. I'm going to call it the bevel flat. But what you don't know is if it actually is apex. Do you understand? You don't know if this actually meets. And you don't know if the steel's been burnt. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay it on a coarse plate. I do this way. Raise it slightly. This is called bread knifing. So keep that in your mental repository of information. And I'm going to roll it back and forth, and I'm following the shape of the hollow grind. Did you catch that? This razor, this apex, is going to follow this slight swoop of the hollow grind. So the only reason I know that is I've done thousands of gold dollars. So, but most razors will follow, their edge line will follow the hollow grind unless it's an art razor, something ridiculous from some wannabe razor smith. So I've removed part of that bevel flat, and as I hope you can surely see, this is now quite dull. Oh, it could still cut you, I guess. But if you run it over your fingernail, there's nothing there, right? So you know, okay? You know there's no apex. Bevel is not set, okay? And at this point, by the way, this is called, I call shaping and grinding. I lay it on the diamond plate, and I feel one of the first things I do, let's just start from scratch. As I look down the nose of the razor towards the hinge pin, and I look for warpage. It might go this way, it might go this way, or it might be straightish. This one's kind of straightish. Then I edge up, and I do the same thing. So if this one's straight and this one's straight, yay. If this curves and this curves, as long as those curves match each other, as in this one's got a curve that goes like this, and then when you flip it over, if you were in your head, this curve on the spine matches it, it's fine. Where the rare ones, thankfully, once in a while you run into a razor that has a curve this way and the spine curves the other way. Well, then you got to use a light touch and hand-eye coordination to hone those, unless you want to try to reshape your entire razor. Alright, so we've established that it's within reason. It's within reason of being, you know, it's honeable. Let's put it that way, shall we? Now, first thing you do Turn your water on high. And if you're going to lap your stones, you lap from your finest to your coarsest. In this case, I've already lapped all the stones following this. So, and I keep on this, by the way. You see that that shadow along here? That's a dip. Everything else didn't wear. This is an Atoma 140 because, well, who has time to use a DMT or 300 or 400 grit stone trying to lap a 1000 grit? Not very many people. I know I don't. Sorry. There's a 400 grit. We're going to be shaping a ground. We're going to be grinding in. We're going to be rough grinding in a bevel. So I'm not starting on a 1000, and you shouldn't either unless it's a really thin ground razor. In which case you don't need a 400. But if you're doing gold dollars, etc., then yeah, you're going to need a coarse stone. You're going to want one. You don't need one, but you're going to want one. All right, so get me a little trickle of water. Grip your stone very firmly. Don't let it rock around. I hone with half strokes, which is this, heel to toe, keeping it in contact with the, see the black steel coming off? Give it a quick check. Notice I'm not staying in one place. I've got too much going on to do that. That'll cause issues with the grind. You can see that I've started to bring up a new bevel. At this stage, I'm using torque through the tang. I'm putting a little pressure towards the edge to save the spine. If you don't know why that's important, go back and look through some of my videos. Please, don't just ask pointless questions that I have answered thousands of times. You'll just make me want to just not help. Because you're not trying, if that makes any sense. You ask me the same question 30 times, and you don't go down and read the comments. Give it an idea, keeping an eye on what's going on. Well, how can I know what your knowledge base is, and I don't get paid to parse your mind for you? I don't get paid to do this at all. You understand? Okay. I know I'm coming across as grouchy. That's because I am. Don't lose track of what you're doing. Don't lose track of where you've been. This is a wet thumbnail test. Now, if you did what I told you to do at the beginning, you joined your edge, you took off the false edge from who knows what, and you brought up fresh steel, didn't you? And you know what that edge feels like. It feels slick. Sometimes it feels a little rough, but it doesn't feel like it's got anything uniform. Now, you're not seeing much reflection of light, but I can tell you, you don't have a set bevel. And if you don't know how I can describe that, well, you'll have to learn. That's what this video is for. I can start to feel a little bit of a sawtooth pattern coming on. The edge is not set, but we're starting to develop proper bevel flats. I'm going to take this pocket microscope, it's 100 power, and I'm going to look at both sides of these bevel flats. What I'm looking for is a false edge. Basically, steel pushed over from one side to the other. Sorry, my voice may not last this. When I see that, or I can feel it on my thumb, then I know that I can leave this coarse stone and go to a 1000 grit to polish and refine. Start the polishing, start the refining. 1000 grit for a knife would be considered decently fine for kitchen work, but for a razor, it would not be pleasant to shave. Alright. The resistance is uniform. It's a little rough, but it's uniform. There's a phrase you need to remember: the uniformity of something. You're not going to have a crisp, clean, photogenic apex off of a 400 grit stone. And your thumbnail test is going to be rough and gritty, but it should be uniformly gritty. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. This is a 1000 grit 90 stone, and I'm still using torque. I'm putting intention towards the edge. The undercut is very nice. What is undercut? You see that? That's undercut. Heel to toe. Pull that swarf off. There you go. When I'm lightening up, and I'm doing X strokes. Square on X strokes. No heel leading. Just nice. Well, those were X strokes. Now they're just square on strokes. Now they're X strokes again. I backed off on my torque so that I can bring a nice acute apex up, okay? I know a lot of this video is just talking, but you gotta start somewhere. One of the reasons I know I'm not terribly fond of gold dollars at times is the thickness of the spine varies a lot. But they are a very useful learning tool, and they shave really well once you set the bevel. I'm checking it again with this 100 power HDE pocket microscope. Get them on eBay. Please don't ask for a link. eBay is pretty easy to use, I think. HDE. I'm sure you can find it. A few more light laps to just clean up the apex, closing everything nicely. Now, I'm going to split this video here, but first I'm going to show you the wet thumbnail test again. Nope, no downward pressure. What you don't want to feel is slips or skips. Those could be large chips or flat spots. And if it goes along and all of a sudden just grinds in tightly and just rough, that means you have a low spot or there's a burr pushed over the edge. So that's a false edge. You understand? which means you need to keep honing. Don't go on a forum and ask. Keep honing. Keep honing. Go on a forum and Google. That's your best friend. If you don't see your question, then ask. But Google will build your knowledge base. I know that sounds terribly cocky or something, but if you don't have a basic knowledge, you don't even know what you're asking. All right. This is set. Nice even, mostly for the most part. The quality of your grind will dictate how small or large your bevel is also. Not always, but a large portion of the time. If you've got a real thick this way grind out here, then this is going to be a wide bevel. Doesn't mean it'll shave bad, it just means you got a wide bevel. Excuse my coughs. Gosh. Water's ready to drive me nuts. Alright, well, I'm going to cut this one off here, and then I'm going to make a quick video on something else. But I hope that was somewhat helpful. I hope you understood what I'm trying to get through to you. I'm sure some of you do. You just have to hone and hone some more. And then if you get tired of honing, you should probably hone some more. Cheers, guys. You can do it.